Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault 2, and we're back out here in the garage for another Garage Gun Talk. I have a few things to talk about tonight, something that was donated to the channel for review from my good friend Craig, and there are two issues that I guess have kind of popped up in the gun community as of late that I wanted to share my thoughts on. But let me start off with what Craig donated to the channel. And we had lunch today. He messaged me. You guys know he's lent some guns to the channel. And he also gave us the Lyman trigger pull weight gauge that I use in all of my range reports. But he said, hey, I have something for you. And I didn't know what it was until I saw him. And he brought me a set of XS sights, which are, I guess these are the 45-degree ones for like an AR-15. And I've never seen these before. I have seen the Magpul ones, and he donated these to the channel because I guess he purchased these quite a long time ago and was unable to use them. So they've just been sitting in a box, and he said, hey, I know you're looking for stuff to either review or, products to take to the range, and he thought I could get some use out of these. So I like XS sights. I want to say they're based here in Texas. I think they're even local, like over in Fort Worth. So I've never reviewed any of the ones that they've made for rifles. So this fits on pieces of M1913 rail. Looks like we got everything to adjust them. So I'm kind of excited to try these out. So yeah, thank you so much, Craig. And I will put this on the list of products that I need to make videos on. I also finished the range report on the Springfield Armory M1A. I got that rifle back to my next door neighbor, and tomorrow I am filming the garage portion of the Smith & Wesson 380 Shield Easy. So I got the bullet point script all written up, all of the range footage edited, intros done, thumbnail done. I just got to do the part where I come out here into the garage and babble on for 30 minutes. So that will be in the morning. So let's talk about the couple of things that have been going on in the gun world that I kind of want to share my thoughts on. First of all, let's talk about the settlement with rare breed triggers by the United States government. Now, I'm sure a lot of you guys have followed the FRT debacle and drama because there's been so many of those legal channels that have followed everything that's been going on, and people always ask me my thoughts on all of it. And I think the reason is because so many gun owners that follow all of these channels, they like to be excited for no reason. I remember when the ATF was, I guess we're going to say, going after people, but really just sending letters out and this and that to people that they thought may have purchased them. And they had no proof you still had them. I mean, for example, you could have bought it and said, this is a piece of junk and thrown it away, or you could have given it away, or you could have sold it, and you were under no obligation whatsoever to provide any documentation for that. It was something that was legal to buy at the time, legal to own at the time, and you could have disposed of it in your own way before you ever gotten a letter. So they sent out these letters, and of course, all of a sudden, all these attorneys' channels are trying to, in my opinion, scare you. Of course, if you ever got something in the mail from the ATF, contact an attorney. But I think a lot of people out there were just panicking, and they're, screaming to the high heavens, oh my God, they're coming for your guns. They're going to shoot your dog, raid your house, and middle of the night. Like, no, they're not. They're not going to do that. They're just trying to track these things down. And they were, in my opinion, and I'm sure your guys' opinion as well, falsely labeled as machine guns. A forced reset trigger is not a machine gun because every time a projectile is expelled from the firearm, the trigger has to be pulled. It's not a single function of the trigger. So now that we have a very different Department of Justice and a very different Attorney General, they've made a settlement in that they're going to return all of the FRTs to people that had them confiscated. and they are going to stop going after rare breed, and I guess the lawsuits are over. The only stipulation that they made to rare breed, and this is the one thing that doesn't make any sense to me, because it kind of feels like they're in one way saying we think the FRTs are machine guns and we may come after them again, is in the settlement they said they told rare breed they can make them again, they can sell them again, they're returning all of them, so I guess they're all legal to have and own. However, they said that rare breed with the settlement is not allowed to design or work on or promote FRT triggers that go in pistols. Now, would I want an FRT trigger, let's say, in a Glock? Well, the answer is no. I honestly think it would make a firearm, a pistol, extremely unsafe. Extremely unsafe. I think machine pistols in general, like a Glock 18, unless you are trained or under supervision, is in generally a very dangerous firearm because you can lose control of that really fast. Unlike a MP5 or something that's shouldered, soft recoiling, easy to control in short bursts. But an FRT, because they don't really have, I guess they started making a 3-position one where you could have safe, semi, and then forced reset. They are pretty much just on and off. And so I can understand that from a safety standpoint, but that should still be up to the company to decide if that's the liability they want to handle. So why was that stipulation made? I don't know. So is that for everybody? Meaning, for example, would they go after a company that was not rare breed, not part of any settlement, that designed an FRT for, let's say, a Smith & Wesson M&P or a Glock pistol? I don't know. I don't really know what that means. I don't think, and of course, I know people are going to try to manipulate the language and be the legal eagles and say, well, what they're saying is because, you can have a braced pistol like an AR, you can't design it for that. They're going to come after you, you're all dead, they're going to kill your dog. Like, no. I'm pretty sure, based off of common language and common understanding, they're pretty much saying you can't design an FRT for a Glock pistol, a Smith & Wesson, a Ruger, any of that. And I guess rare breed was like, okay, because they only care about drop-in triggers for modern sporting rifles, which I guess, because it's not a pistol, they could also try to do them for AKs, they could do them for, FN SCARs, they could try to do it for a number of different types of guns, maybe even like a Ruger 1022. I don't know how any of that would work, but I'm assuming based off of the information I'm getting, that would be the case. So I'm kind of curious, are you guys interested in FRTs again? And I wonder if this is going to be like the old bump stock stuff, where once the Supreme Court said bump stocks are legal, I haven't seen one. Okay, I would say I saw one in the wild. I think I talked about it on this channel. I was at the range filming some content, and somebody came because they were teaching some people how to shoot, and I guess they had some of their range toys out, and they had a bump stock. I had never seen one in the wild since they were banned, and after the Supreme Court said they were legal, I saw somebody shoot it. So I was like, okay, haven't seen one of those in a while. So I wonder if the FRTs are going to be the same. Are people scared to get them now? And if they do acquire them, are they going to do it through like cash transactions, which is totally legal, let's say like a gun show or something. So there is no paper trail. But that whole thing about the no pistol FRTs concerns me, because I kind of feel like it's a way for them to kind of get back in the game in the future. But if they're claiming it's a safety issue, then that's up to the companies, because they'd have to, bear the burden of that liability. So anyway, tell me your thoughts on that. And if you're interested in FRTs again, and what do you think the future holds? Because I kind of feel like because of the settlement, it's still not over, unfortunately. The other thing I wanted to talk about was I guess what people are claiming are the traitors in the silencer industry. I've heard that there's some companies, especially that focus on the paperwork and the streamlining of the NFA process for silencer transfers, were the ones that lobbied Congress to pull back the Hearing Protection Act and the other pro-gun legislation that would have repealed parts of the NFA. And I don't want to name any names because I don't want to get anything wrong here. You guys can do your own research. And this, in my opinion, gives a lot of credence to what a lot of gun tubers that are sounding the alarm on not just traders in the gun world, but people that manipulate and profit off of fear-mongering and the laws that are already in place. So, for example, these companies that streamline the process, they say, hey, we can help you fill out the forms, we can help you pay the tax, you use our system, there's dealers that use our system, you pay them a fee, they pay us a fee, we're all making money, and we streamline the process for you. If they were really about silencers and silencer freedom, they would be like, okay, we are willing to take this hit to make silencers more available. Because think about it, all they have to do is change their business model. If their main business is helping people pick out suppressors and getting them legally through FFLs, then nothing's really going to change about their business. If they can aggregate all of that information and be the central hub for people looking for good information, good deals on them, then honestly nothing would change. They could still be the middleman broker. Yes, it would be a huge infrastructure change, but they would still be in the business. But in my personal opinion, freedom trumps everything else. And so I'm still kind of waiting for the dust to clear, and I don't understand why some of these companies proverbial or metaphorically shoot themselves in the foot. Remember when Springfield Armory did that when it came to lobbying in Illinois for exemptions from their anti-gun legislation? These aggregating silencer places got together, were like, we can't let this pass because our entire business model will go away. And I don't know how big those companies are. Let's just say it's a few hundred people, okay? These people can get jobs elsewhere in the firearms world. They're obviously connected and they can change their business model. But because they make so much money off of the tax stamps and you paying $25 or $50 to have your fingerprints done for them to process the information and all this kind of stuff, they couldn't let that cash cow go. And they would rather you suffer under the boot of tyranny than have your freedom and them lose a little bit of money. Now, listen, I understand you got to feed your family, okay? You got to have a business. But these are businesses that can prepare for this. In that, as I said, no one's telling them they still can't do what they do and help people, match up with what they're looking for and get it to dealers to do everything the legal way. And they can charge a small fee for that. They can do advertising. They can have dealers pay them advertising fees to, or if they're distributors, there's nothing wrong with that. But I feel like this is a systemic problem in the gun world that so many gun owners don't see. And I know there are other channels that try to sound the alarm on this stuff. And a lot of you guys, and I don't mean, specifically you watching this video, you guys will go out, you'll watch The Armed Scholar, you'll go out and watch, and I hate to say it now, the Four Boxes Diner, you'll go out and watch Washington Gun Law, you'll watch the big channels that honestly are just fear-mongering, saying they're coming for your guns, they're coming to get you, they're going to raid your house in the middle of the night and kill your dog, and they want you all riled up. I even feel like there's a lot of companies and a lot of people that, and I mentioned this before about machine guns, they don't want the machine gun ban repealed because they already have their machine guns, and those machine guns are worth hundreds of thousands of dollars now. So why do they want it repealed? And they're going to fight tooth and nail to make sure you never get to have a machine gun legally. They're going to make sure, because they're not going to lose hundreds of thousands of dollars. Why would they do that? I think there's companies that like magazine capacity limits or assault weapons bans, because it keeps their collections in these places and their business models that are built around that in business. And they're totally fine because they have theirs, making sure you're denied yours. It's kind of like what happened with Larry Vickers. You guys remember Larry Vickers? We all have to follow the same rules, and I don't agree with all the rules about machine guns importation and all that kind of stuff. I'm not an FFL. I'm not an SOT. I don't have any full auto stuff. I mean, would I like to have one day? Yeah, of course. But you have people that were gaming the system to acquire things that otherwise were not possible to get using fake law letter, or maybe not fake law letters, but lying about the reasons just to enhance their own personal collections because they could. They didn't care about you. They weren't fighting for you. They were only enriching themselves. And it's human nature. It's human nature. And this is another reason why we are always fighting an uphill battle when it comes to our gun rights. I honestly feel the best thing most gun owners can do is stop listening to all of the BS, the hype, getting all angry and mad. Because think about it. For those of you that have been in the gun world for 15, 20 years and been following all this stuff on YouTube, you have been in a perpetual state of worry, anxiety, and anger and frustration, never getting anything in return. But honestly, nothing really bad happens either. People profit off you just getting mad and then you going online and saying stuff like, shall not be infringed, the ATF can't create law, and nothing happens. Do you want to know, and this is my advice to all of you, when it comes to all this stuff, all these accessories that get banned, that, let's just talk about FRT triggers, bump stocks. I'm trying to think of some other stuff. What was his name? Matt Hoover with the auto key card, to scratch your full auto itch BS. If you ever came across any of those items or you owned any of those items, do you want to know how to not get in trouble? I'm going to tell you this right now, okay? You can shut the hell up. That's it. So let's just say you were at a gun show and somebody was like, hey, I got this deal on this bump stock or whatever, and you paid cash for it or whatever. Go home, put it in your safe, don't talk about it, don't use it until it's legal to use, or you have to use it or whatever, or you're in a place you can use it without worrying about anybody seeing it. Don't go online and say, shall not be infringed, or I won't comply, or the ATF can't create law, or any of that kind of stuff. If you just shut the hell up and don't say anything, you don't have to worry. They're not going to come and kill your dog because they don't know you have it. Same thing goes with those FRT triggers, Don't go out and publicly announce what you have online and say, the ATF can't create law, shall not be infringed, I won't comply. Okay, now listen, you can do whatever it is you want on this stuff. I just feel like in order to win a battle, you have to be strategic. We all had good feelings about the bump stock ban being overturned in the Supreme Court, so just wait it out. Just wait it out. Wait to see what happens. Same thing goes with FRTs. You don't have to make a big fool of yourself and say this stuff online and put yourselves on lists. Be strategic. There's a reason why some of the most effectual people in combat and in wartime are the spies that people don't know about, because they keep their mouths shut. Now, you can do whatever it is you want. I don't care what you own, okay? Don't care. Don't care what you have in your safe. I'm not telling you what to do or what not to do, but some of the best advice when it comes to any law enforcement interaction is shut the hell up. And if you have these things, you worry about it, you worry they're going to get banned again, or they're banned now, whatever, shut the hell up. Don't say anything about it and don't draw attention to yourself. So that's just what I say. You have the right to remain silent, and I think you should exercise that right. And stop getting frustrated, anxious, and worried about stuff just because gun influencers and YouTubers tell you to be, and they profit off of you donating to their causes, donating to their groups, and they have no real incentive to change anything because they profit off of you. You have to figure out who's really fighting the good fight. Who is really trying to overturn this, and donate to them. So anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about tonight. Thank you again, Craig, for the excess sites. I cannot wait to review this. And let me know your thoughts on the FRT stuff, or the, I guess we'll say, traitors in the Second Amendment that worked really hard to prevent the Hearing Protection Act from going through. So if you made it to the end of this video, obviously share all of your thoughts in the comments, but use the word of the day, which is going to be traitor. Traitor is the word of the day because that's the word everyone is saying about some of these companies and organizations that fought against our rights. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. And as always, thanks for watching.